Hey y'all, I'm Tashina, and this is Leadership Beyond the Title podcast. Let's be real, leadership isn't a title, it's how you show up, build trust, and make things happen. This podcast is for women of color who are done waiting for permission to lead. Every week, we talk about how to lead beyond politics, position, and perfection with relationships that work, systems that support you, and a leadership style that actually feels like you. Because leadership isn't what's on your business card, it's what people experience when you walk in the room. So if you're ready to lead without being held back by fear, titles, or anyone else's limits, you are in the right place. So let's dive in. Welcome back to Leadership Beyond the Title podcast. I am your host, Tashina, and all week long, I am dropping a new episode every single day. Let me tell you why. Because so many of you are trying to grow in your career right now. You're thinking about 2026. You're wondering and asking yourself what that's going to look like. And the way that leadership works today is completely different than how it worked even 5 years ago. So today we're talking about something big. Why waiting for a title is actually slowing down your career and what actually makes people see you as a leader in this new era of work. We're going to talk about what's happening inside companies today, why your identity matters more than ever, and the 3 leadership skills that matter the most, whether you have the title or not. Okay? So let's jump into it. So let me keep it real completely from the very beginning. In this market, if you are waiting for a title to validate your leadership, you are already going to be behind. Influence moves faster than job descriptions ever will. Let me repeat that. Your influence will move faster than any job description. People advance because of how they show up, not because of what's printed under their name in your Gmail or your Outlook calendar. And listen, I have learned this the hard way. When I was an administrative assistant, I used to tell myself, once somebody gives me a title, they'll finally see me. Then I'll show them that I can lead. Ooh, all they have to do is put me in this position and they'll see that, I'm a leader. And that's how I know that I am really a leader. And I just can't wait till I move up in this organization. Like, then I'll be able to do the things that I really want to do or the things that are calling me. But guess what happened? That moment did not come. And quite honestly, it never does. Not when you're sitting around waiting for someone to hand you your title on a platter. Meanwhile, I was already supporting teams. I was running meetings. I was organizing all the things, offsites, town halls, meetings every week, all the things. I was doing it, but because I personally didn't see myself as a leader yet, nobody else really did either. And the moment that I stopped waiting and I started acting like the leader I knew that I was becoming, that's when I knew, or that's when everything started to shift. That's when they started to respond to me differently. Opportunities that felt out of reach suddenly became available to me. It's like just stepping into leadership and saying that I'm a leader started to manifest something. Like there started to be this like manifestation of things that were happening. And today, that realization, even for you, the listener, is going to be more important than ever. So let's talk about what's happening in the workplace right now, because I want you to be clear on why just things feel different, kind of sticky, kind of like, I don't know what's going on here. I want you to know why it looks different. Okay. So first of all, companies are flattening their org charts. So what used to look like in the past was like you'll have an admin. Let's start there because that was kind of like a entry kind of almost position. So it would go from admin to a coordinator, to a specialist, to a manager, to a senior manager, and then maybe to a director, right? And then you just go up from there. So that's like 5, 6 different roles. But now it looks like the admin to a specialist to a manager straight to a director. So all these middle layered roles, they are completely disappearing. And so what that means is that promotions are going to be slower. It's not that the promotions are not happening, it's just that they're a lot slower than they used to be. There's a lot less vertical movement that's happening. And so people are doing more of those horizontal movements and things like that if you're smart, okay? If you're smart, that's where you're trying to pick up some skills and trying to do some different things, right? But the people who grow the most in this type of environment, these new type of situations where the middle layer is gone, are the ones who stand out because of their leadership behaviors, because they're showing that they have potential or that they know how to do it. And that's standing out a lot more than their titles, right? So it doesn't even matter that this person is an administrative assistant. What matters is that they can lead, they can influence, they can gather the people and, really create some type of movement in the workplace. Well, leadership is also shifting towards skills and influence. So, I want you to think about your last team meeting. The person that people turn to when things got messy probably wasn't the person with the biggest title. It probably, and I guarantee, because people don't like to go to the person with the biggest title because they're like, oh, I don't want to show my weakness. I don't want to make them think that I don't know what I'm talking about. They don't have time for me. So you don't immediately go to the person with the biggest title, right? You usually go to the person who has like this calm demeanor. They seem sure of themselves, the person that can really get clear about what's happening. Normally, that's the person closest to the work. Not the person with the biggest title, but the person closest to the work, or the person who can help them make a decision. So they have some key information, they have some insight that maybe, the director or the senior manager does not have. And so they go to that person, or they go to the person that's kind of like, okay, guys, let's get back on track, right? I've seen that happen from people who didn't have the biggest title, but were able to get everyone back on track. And the reason why people do this is because people follow the people who show up in like this full authority or present, or like they just take command of the room in a way that says that I am responsible for the outcome here. I am responsible for my world and what's created here. And that's the person that people are looking at. It's not hierarchy. Okay. It is not hierarchy. And you know why? Because there are younger generations coming into the workplace right now that are shifting the culture. They're shifting the way things are happening, where you have Gen Z and you have millennials. I'm a millennial, full transparency. And we are the type of people who we want to come into the situation real. We want people to keep it 100, no, doing things behind the scenes, like just keep it real. And we also want leaders who are very clear in their communication. Don't beat around the bush. Just tell it like it is. And leaders who don't hide behind their titles. So some people, they put the S on their chest and they're like, yes, because I have a title, I'm going to be the one that's going to be able to do all the things. We don't want that in the workplace. We want the realness, the authenticity. And so that's why sometimes the senior manager is invisible and the project coordinator is the one everyone actually goes to for support and direction. I remember this happening. It was like, I'm not going to even worry about going to the senior manager because they probably don't even know the things that are happening anyway. They probably don't have the information. So let me just go to this project coordinator because they're going to know exactly what to do. And let me go to this ops manager because they're going to know exactly what to do. Authenticity and being real in the workplace has become a leadership skill. You may not find this on the job description. You may not find this written on a wall or on a piece of paper, right? But I want you to know that those people who are the most authentic are the ones that seem to stand out in a crowd. And we honestly can't ignore the economic reality. I touched on it just a moment ago, but I want to say it again. Promotions are slower everywhere, everywhere. It's because there are hiring freezes, there are budget cuts, there is inflation. These things are real things that are happening in the workplace that we just cannot ignore. So, what happens are people are staying in roles a lot longer. There's a lot less movement that are happening. And so you're like, "Oh my god, this person just won't get out the way." Why? Because there aren't any other places for them to actually go to. And so people are doing more work, and quite honestly, people are getting fewer raises. I know this especially in the education industry. There's a lot of teachers and staff that are frozen at their income level right now because the money is just not being generated. It's not coming in. And even high performers, even the ones that you're like, "Oh, I know they're gonna go to the next level, like, quickly." Even those people are being told that there's no budget for movement in this quarter, right? So, it's not just you're a high performer, you're doing all the work. It takes a little bit more than that. It takes a little bit more swag, as they would say, a little bit more finesse, a little bit more just like I think about the type of energy that they said Mamdani gave in the New York primary and in the New York mayor race was like, he just had this thing about him that was like, ooh, like it was magnetic, it was attractive, right? That's what's happening in the workplace right now. It's just not that you're going to do hard work and you're doing all the things. You actually have to have something else about you. And so if you feel stuck, it's not necessarily because you're not ready, it's because the system itself is stuck. Which brings me to this. I know a lot of you are going to message me, or you have messaged me, or you've said on some of my lives or in some of my posts, Tashina, I hear everything you're saying, but what do I do with this? How do I take action? How do I get around this? Because I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of being overlooked. And I feel like I'm doing everything right and I am not moving. Nothing's moving. I am like at a standstill right now. First of all, I want to let you know I hear you. I have been where you are at right now. And you are not crazy. The system really is moving slower, slower than ever, slower than it's comfortable for us in many ways. But that is exactly why your leadership identity, your visibility, and the way that you show up matter more today than it ever did before. And that's what we're going to get into right now. So, here is what all of this means for you in a very real practical way. If you want to grow in this environment, if you want to be seen, heard, valued, or even considered for opportunities that haven't even been announced yet sometimes, hear me loud and clear. You are going to have to nail three things. These are going to be the shifts that are going to make people turn their heads like, yeah, she's a leader. Put her in the room. Let's get her ideas. Let's get her perspective. Let's hear what she has to say. Okay? And the best part about these three things that I'm going to share is that you do not need a title for any of it. You do not need a formal title, okay? So, let's dig into the first one. Okay? So the first one is identity first, not you sitting around and waiting. Today's workplace is not looking for the people who say, I'll just wait until someone gives me permission. I'll just wait until they tell me I can do this. I'm just going to wait. No, you have to be who you are before the title arrives. It's kind of like when people say, like, when you get a lot of money, it just brings out more of who you are and not less. The same thing. You got to bring out that leader before you get the title, because when you get the title, it will bring out more of who you already are. So you have to know who you are before that title arrives. When you walk into a room clear on who you are, on what you value, on how you are going to lead, people are going to trust you faster. They're going to see you differently. They're going to say, oh, something's different with that person compared to the rest of the leadership team. And you go from being this person that's just doing tasks to actually a person who they see as strategic, who can make strategic moves, who is a strategic thinker. They're going to see you as that. Your identity will become your reputation when you are not in the room. I just want you to know that. So even when you walk out of the room, they're going to say, "Oh, that person, oh my God, wow." Because when you are clear about who you are and you sit and stand firmly in that, that becomes your reputation. A title cannot do that for you, but your actions, the way you move, it absolutely can. Which brings me to the second thing, your behavior or actions over titles. People will follow how you lead, how you show up, how present you are, not your hierarchy, not your title. Nobody follows a person with the title who cannot communicate or who cannot manage their emotions or actually regulate their emotions, especially not right now when teams are overwhelmed and leaders are stretched to the bone. Okay? People are going to want to follow the person who communicates clearly, who stays grounded, who has a skill of just reading the room or who helps others think or again who can regulate their emotions. That is the person that people want to follow every single time. So I want you to think about your own job. There's somebody who technically isn't the boss, but everyone listens to them like they are. Why? Because of how they show up, because how they move, because of their swag, their gift, their presence that says, I'm a leader and I am here to lead. That is behavior-based leadership. And it's more powerful, more influential than any title ever will be. And the last thing is leadership is distributed now. Everyone is going to be expected to lead. Now, this is probably one of the biggest shifts that's happening across many organizations. I've worked with several, and what I'm seeing is everyone should be like, okay, we're all together like a team, right? Formal leadership roles are overloaded or they're disappearing. And so leadership can no longer be tied to a position. It has to be a team. When you think of a basketball team or a football team or a hockey team, there's only one ball. So everyone has to be intricately involved in the success of that team. And so organizations need people who can take initiative, who can solve problems, who can coordinate work, who can communicate across various teams, and who can influence without authority. These are not manager skills anymore. These are everyone on the team skills. You cannot wait for someone to tap you on the shoulder. You have to be able to step into leadership moments when they show up. When the opportunity hits, show up. That's the time. Because that's how opportunities find you. Because you're already acting like the person who belongs in the room. So you're already doing it. So they're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's a shoo-in, right? There's no ifs, ands, or about it. This person has it. So here's the question I want you to sit with today. Who are you as a leader when the org chart cannot save you? That answer is going to tell you everything. Because when your name ain't at the top, or your name is at the top, but they're not coming to you, they're going to someone else, who are you as a leader? I want you to really sit with that and ask yourself that and answer that for yourself. Okay. And if this episode is hitting home, and if you're listening, like, yep, this is exactly the support I've been needing, then I want you to know this. The Six Figure Leader Community officially opens in full on December 1st. There's no more previews, there's no more wait lists. This is the full experience. And here's the part that I am most excited about. If you enroll before December 1st, you're going to get 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with me. So this is going to be your chance to get personalized support on your leadership identity, your visibility strategy, your next role or your next project that you're thinking about, how to navigate workplace dynamics, or whatever you're facing right now. You'll get the entire Six Figure Leader community and 2 private sessions to help you build your plan from now, 2025 to 2026, from a place where you are confident and you're very clear. So if you enroll right now in full before December 1st, this is my gift to you. Okay. So if you know this is your next step, tap the link in the show notes and get inside early. This is your season. You can do this. So I would love to walk with you as you do this. And so go ahead, click learn more about the Six Figure community, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.